I finally made the switch from the iPhone 13 mini, the smallest little powerhouse iPhone that Apple forgot about, to the iPhone 16 in teal. I'm sharing with you why I did it, what's the major new features, and ultimately if you should be making this move at this point. So I've tested a lot of iPhones ranging from the best of the best to the base model iPhones, and every time I end up going back to the iPhone 13 mini as my primary phone. And it started me on this journey of, you don't need the latest tech. And while that made sense a couple of years ago, the 13 mini is now starting to show its age. From the battery life beginning to decline, to the apps that aren't optimized for a smaller screen, it ultimately just feels like the iPhone 13 mini is being left behind. And if you want to stay current, but you don't want the largest Pro Max giant phone, and you don't want to buy a new refurbished 13 mini, is the 16 the answer? So I chose this phone for a couple of reasons. First, the phone just looks incredible. From this gorgeous new teal color, the way that it accents those massive new cameras compared to the mini, I mean, just look at this side by side. And just the sheer amount of pro features that came to this phone in what is now the smallest iPhone that Apple is selling with current tech packed in. So let's start with the screen. I adore the mini. It's compact, it's easy to use with one hand no matter what you're doing. The 6.1-inch screen looks great. It all around looks and feels like a modern iPhone. Then you jump up to the new 16, 5.4 right up to 6.1 inches. And I'm not going to lie and say it's the same. It's just not. It's bigger and that's an adjustment. But I don't know if it's the new titanium finish or just the more efficient parts. This thing just feels incredibly light. So although it's bigger, it still really feels easy to manage. From browsing the web to taking photos, it's an adjustment, but it's easy to handle. The screen itself is just 60 Hz display, and if you're switching from the mini, it'll look the same. Colors are more vibrant, the screen goes way brighter, and all of that is awesome, and probably enough for an upgrade, but if you're just testing out the Pro model with the 120 Hz display, and I do encourage you to go to the nearest Apple store and try that out, you'll understand what you're missing in terms of how smooth that screen can really be. But overall, the 16 screen will be a slight upgrade in color, and otherwise it'll be very familiar to your mini. So as somebody who tests tech constantly, it gets a little bit hectic, and I crave a more minimal life with less notifications and more calmness, and that's exactly the purpose of the 13 mini. It was portable enough that it was more a functional tool than an entertainment device or a distraction. I made it simple using the Dumb Phone app, so I'm seeing only what I need to see and eliminating the draw and the excitement of the colorful apps pulling your attention in every direction. I cut out distraction, turning off notifications for every app that didn't matter, reclaiming my focus, and eliminating the need to check my phone constantly. My ultimate detox phone. And my point is that when you do this, what upgrades really matter that you'll notice? And there's really two things: camera and battery life. So let's start with those cameras. They're huge. Comparing them to the mini, you'll really see a difference here. Putting it on a table and letting it rock, you'll really notice the difference here. Well, they are an upgrade. You're going from a 12 megapixel camera to a 48 megapixel camera, capable of 2x zoom where the mini only had 1. You're getting spatial photo and video, you're getting macro photography. Even videos gained a more convincing portrait mode, more complex cinematic mode, and the new audio mix features that let you completely isolate your voice for great video quality that can't be understated. You're also getting the new camera control button on the side of the phone, which lets you easily launch the camera, and then you can control the entire camera from zoom, focus, exposure, and taking the photo all with one button that reduces that need to tap the screen at all. I mean, these are really pro features that you're getting on a base model phone, which is just incredible. And then you get to the battery. This is probably the largest difference that you're going to see. We're talking 2438 milliamps to 3561 milliamps. Then factor in that you're powering a much bigger, brighter, more vibrant screen. And that really goes from 12 to 15 hours of battery life, which is what I was averaging on my mini. Now up to 22 hours with the 16. Make it simple, reduce brightness, turn off notifications, and you'll add a few extra hours, which is just incredible. It's sort of like Apple packaging all of this tech into the base model iPhone is their way of helping people not buy the most expensive phone while still getting a lot of features and upgrades they'll notice. And I think if they can keep going in that direction for a future, smaller, more portable phone like next year's iPhone SE, it could be just a home run. But then there's a few things with the 16 that Apple probably doesn't want me to talk about. Not that they provided this phone, I bought it myself, but I do have a perspective of the mini demographic that others just don't. Like for instance, the size of the 16. Although it's the smallest phone that you can buy right now, it still isn't totally manageable. And despite my best efforts, it's still not quite one-handed, for me at least. And that makes it a little harder to use in my day-to-day life. And then when you do use it, you notice that the screen isn't that large of a difference. It's just the same look and feel that my Mini gave, but larger, with a little more space for everything to breathe. But that's not really a problem that I had on my Mini, so it is a downside to go larger for the 16 without much purpose for it. Now I'm in a bit of a unique situation where I got to try the entire lineup, including the Pro Series phones, and I don't know if others who haven't tried it would know what they're missing, but when I see what an iPhone is capable of, with the ProMotion display making everything feel incredibly smooth, the even more impressive battery life going up to 22 hours, I do start to feel like if I'm finally paying out of pocket for the upgrade from the 13 mini and I don't plan on upgrading for a long period of time, it might actually be worth upgrading to the 16 Pro instead, especially now that all the features from the Pro Max came to the Pro this year. I think this is really a separate video that I should be doing soon on the channel, but comment below if you want me to compare the Mini to the Pro lineup to see if it's actually more worth the upgrade. Overall, throughout my time with the iPhone 16, I do feel like it's a great upgrade. How could it not be? You're getting what is probably a more appropriate screen size for modern web browsing and apps. You're getting huge upgrades to the performance and battery life that lasts all day, and you're doing it all with a phone that just weighs 170 grams, up from 140 grams on the Mini. I'm not gonna lie and say that I want or need that extra space or the larger phone, but I feel like as the 13 mini ages, we have to start looking at other options. Still, I felt that if I'm paying this amount of money for a one-time upgrade, it might just be worth splurging on the Pro lineup for real, more tangible upgrades than what my Mini was capable of. And although there's no 16 Pro Mini, I might make another video covering that switch later on the channel. So let me know in the comments what changes you're making. Are you feeling the age of the Mini and looking to upgrade to the 16 lineup? And are you making the extra jump to the Pro lineup for the first time? Or are you staying put in hopes of a new Mini or an SE later next year? Drop your questions and comments down below about these phones, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.